On August 30, Archangel Michael was seen crying over you after a $1 million blessing assigned to your name was violently attacked in the spirit realm. Why were you targeted, and can you recover what was stolen? August 30th was no ordinary date. It was not just a number in a calendar, not just another day passing by. No, August 30th was a divine marker, a sacred timestamp etched into the scrolls of heaven. It was the moment the veil thinned, and heaven released a revelation meant only for those whose spirits are awake and whose destinies are under pressure. At the hour of divine unfolding, something in the spirit shifted, and those who were sensitive, those who had been restless without explanation, they felt it. Something invisible but undeniable pressed in on the day. And over your name, yes, your name, the most fearsome warrior of heaven, Archangel Michael himself, was seen weeping. What would cause heaven's mightiest sword-bearer, the commander of angelic armies, the guardian of the righteous, to weep? Why would the one who cast down the dragon, who wars without fear, show sorrow over you? Because something sacred was struck. Something divine was violently intercepted in the realm of spirit, and it bore your name. Not a mere material blessing, but a symbol. A $1 million blessing that was never about the money, but about the message. A message of inheritance, of breakthrough, of divine reward. That figure, $1 million, represents abundance, not just in wealth, but in authority, assignment, elevation. You were being promoted. You were next in line for heaven's release. And the enemy knew. So heaven revealed it. Not to all, not to the many, but to the few. To the ones who have been burdened with unexplained heaviness. To those who have felt the press, the ache, the subtle opposition. To those who have cried without knowing why, prayed without words, and sensed a war they couldn't see. This word is for you. This message is for the marked, the chosen, the pursued. But stillness is your condition. Prayer is your posture. Obedience is your doorway. Only in the quiet can you perceive why the warrior wept. Only in surrender can you recover what was stolen. For heaven is not silent, it is speaking now, directly, urgently to you. Type I receive in the comments if you feel this in your spirit. Blessing code 3030 is now moving over your name. Heaven bears witness to what I am about to speak. God Most High has authorized this unveiling. Archangel Michael, the warring prince, stands as divine witness to what unfolded in your name, and I declare this not as opinion, but as prophetic truth sealed in the scrolls of time. Within the hours of August 30, a violent clash erupted in the spirit. Not seen by human eyes, but recorded by the courts of heaven. A battle raged, and at the center of that warfare was your name. Your identity, your legacy. This was not a symbolic dream, not a gentle sign. It was a celestial war, and it had everything to do with you. The records show that an inheritance was being released. A crown of destiny, saturated in promise, was being lowered into your spiritual atmosphere. It was marked with favor, embossed with divine reward, and it carried the weight of generations. It was not just money. No, it was the return on your obedience. The reward for your endurance. The compensation for years of pressing forward when you had every reason to quit. That blessing, symbolized by $1 million, was no accident. Heaven chose that figure to reflect something greater, a recompense that multiplies through your bloodline, authority that unlocks your kingdom assignment, and provision that enables you to do what you were born to do. And just as it reached the edge of your atmosphere, it was violently intercepted. Listen closely. Not everyone will understand this word. Not everyone will feel it shake them to the core. Because this message is not for the casual listener. This message is for the chosen ones. The ones who have felt the press without explanation. The ones who wake up under pressure, who cry without words, who've sensed resistance yet didn't know why. If you feel that pull in your spirit, if something in your soul stirs right now, then you are the one this word has located. The presence of Archangel Michael in this vision is no minor detail. He is not dispatched for ordinary matters. He is sent when the warfare is too intense for lower ranks. He is heaven's sword. And yet, on this day, he wept. His tears were not weakness. His tears were mourning for what should have arrived. His tears were fury restrained. His tears were the holy groaning of heaven when justice is delayed, but not denied. For you were on the edge of promotion. And while it was attacked, it was never abandoned. These tears signal preparation, a gathering of angelic forces, a response from heaven. Do not misread the sorrow. It is a prelude to vengeance. It is the silence before the sword is drawn. It is the weeping before the war. You were not forgotten. You were targeted. You were not overlooked. You were opposed. And now, heaven is responding. You are not alone in this. You are not without reinforcement. And you are not without recourse. The enemy struck hard, but heaven is gathering its reply. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you feel this weight in your spirit. Blessing code 8181 is now preparing your breakthrough. You have felt it. You've carried it. The tension, the tightness in your chest, the heaviness that descends without explanation. It visits your dreams, it stirs in your thoughts, it lingers in your spirit, a sense that something is off, something is unfinished, something sacred was touched. You've been walking in a storm that no one sees, feeling the press of invisible resistance. And yet, you couldn't put it into words. You couldn't point to the source. Because this wasn't happening around you. It was happening about you, in the hidden places, in the unseen realm. There were whispers, conversations in the spirit realm. Schemes crafted not by mere mortals, but by dark intelligences who have studied your life, your patterns, your prayers. They saw your consistency. They heard your declarations. They smelled your faith rising like incense, and they knew, if this one crosses the threshold, the region will shift. Generations will be set free. Cycles will break. The curse will be shattered. And so they conspired. And the attack was not launched by accident. It was specific, precise, timed. Those closest to you, some of them felt your rising, but they could not comprehend it. They sensed your favor, but they didn't understand the cost. They felt you pulling away, growing, shifting, ascending, and jealousy was stirred. Not all betrayal wears the face of a stranger. Some wounds are internal. Some sabotage comes dressed in familiarity. Those who were supposed to cover you instead exposed you. Those who once applauded you now watch in silence as storms rage over your life. Because they saw something, but they didn't see everything. They saw the surface of your calling, but they couldn't discern the weight of your covenant. They didn't see what God whispered over your life in the secret place. They didn't hear what heaven sealed into your DNA before you were born. But hell did. And so the attack was triggered. That blessing, the $1 million promise, it was not just provision. It was prophecy. A coded symbol of what you were stepping into. A new level. A divine financial unlock meant to fund your next chapter, to release you from past limitations, to push you into generational purpose. That's why the tears fell from the Archangel's eyes. Not because the enemy won, but because the interference was permitted as a test, as a reveal, as a spiritual unveiling. And this is why you've been restless. This is why you've woken up tired despite sleeping. Why conversations feel shallow. Why joy has felt harder to reach. Because your spirit remembers something your mind has not yet seen. Your spirit knows you were meant to be further by now. Your spirit feels what was stolen. And your emotions have been trying to name what your soul already saw. A violent ambush in the unseen realm aimed directly at you. We're attacked. Why now? Why you? Because your time was near. Because your next level was descending. Because the oil on your life has reached maturity, and the realm of darkness panicked. But what they touch they cannot keep. What they delay they cannot destroy. What they fought will now return with interest. The mystery of this warfare is still unfolding, but the shaking you feel is not death. It is delivery. It is the signal that recovery is already in motion. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if this word is stirring something deep inside of you. Blessing code 777 is igniting around you now. If this message is waking something up in you, if you feel this warfare is real and this word has found you, then know this: you are not the only one rising through this battle. Every time you sow into a message like this, you don't just support a video, you help someone else recover their blessing. You become part of heaven's ripple effect, where fire is passed from one warrior to another. God says in 2 Corinthians 9:10, "Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed." When you give, it's not charity, it's prophecy. You're not just giving to us. You're releasing all over your own breakthrough. I heard the Spirit say, if this found you, I have assigned you to fund freedom for others. So, if the Spirit leads you, stand with this prophetic mission. Become a YouTube member, activate a super thanks, or give through the PayPal link in the description below. Your giving carries spiritual velocity. Your generosity helps this word pierce through darkness and reach those still in warfare. So into this atmosphere. Watch the recovery begin. Blessing is on the giver. Favor is on the seed. Now is the moment. Give as heaven leads. You must understand this. What happened on August 30 was not about currency. It was about covenant. It was never about money. The $1 million blessing you heard about, the one assigned to your name, was not a financial fantasy. It was a heavenly key, a divine unlocking of something much larger than material wealth. That number was symbolic, prophetic, encoded with layers of meaning. It was heaven's language for authority, for inheritance, for kingdom assignment. It was a reflection of the magnitude of what you were stepping into, but the conflict surrounding it, that was spiritual, strategic, violent. Time. This is the moment you must reframe what you've been feeling. This was not just about an opportunity being delayed. This was not just about resources being withheld. This was an assault against your divine lineage, a strike against what you were called to birth. And the reason it hit so hard, the reason it stirred Michael the Archangel to tears, is because this was not just about you. It was about every generation connected to you. This blessing was a crown. It was territory. It was royal assignment passed down through bloodlines, finally arriving at your feet. Hell doesn't rage over things it's not afraid to lose. And the moment the oil on your life reached a boil, the opposition intensified. Why? Because the enemy doesn't fight where there is no threat. He doesn't steal from empty vaults. He doesn't sabotage lifeless destinies. You were targeted because you were crowned in heaven before you were ever recognized on earth. Your name stirred movement in the spirit realm, and the moment the release neared, interference was sent. Premature attacks are often the sign of prophetic proximity. The enemy can smell when destiny is near. He feels the vibration of your breakthrough before you even see the signs. So he launches ambushes early. And if you don't see it rightly, if you don't frame the conflict through a spiritual lens, you will misinterpret what's happening and delay your own recovery. Let this awaken you. The warfare was evidence, not opposition. It was confirmation of what you carry, not a contradiction to it. You were not being punished. You were being proven. The pressure was not to break you, but to reveal that you've outgrown the last season. You were being watched, not just by demons, but by heaven. Every strike, every tear, every lie spoken behind your back, every door that suddenly shut, every betrayal you couldn't explain. Heaven recorded it all. Not one moment escaped the divine archive. Heaven saw who stood with you. Heaven saw who left you. Heaven saw who celebrated you publicly, but cursed you privately. And heaven wrote it down. This is why the angel wept. Not in despair, but in holy lament. For what should have arrived unhindered was intercepted by forces that saw your future and grew afraid. But make no mistake, the weeping was only for a moment. The sword is being drawn. The war is not over. The conflict you've endured is about to flip into compensation. The enemy launched the first strike, but heaven has the final say. And now you must decide. Will you frame this moment as loss, or as the stage for your comeback? Will you grieve what didn't land on time, or will you prepare for what's coming back multiplied? You were never fighting for money. You were fighting for mission. You were fighting for mantle. You were fighting for everything tied to your name in heaven. And it is not loss. It is not over. It is being recalibrated. And it is coming back with fire. Type "I claim my inheritance" in the comments if this word is striking your spirit. Blessing code 929 is circling you right now. I must speak to you now with urgency, not comfort. This is not the time for casual listening. Heaven is not whispering, it is roaring. Hear me in the spirit. The attackers are regrouping. The ones who interfered with the release on August 30 have not retreated in surrender. No, they are reorganizing in defiance. And they are watching you, plotting in shadows, whispering in realms you cannot hear with natural ears. In the next 72 hours, spiritual pressure will begin to intensify around you. Not to destroy you, but to reveal what still needs to die in you before destiny can fully rise. This is not a time for panic, but it is a time for precision. The enemy believes you are vulnerable, because of the disruption that occurred. He believes the delay broke your rhythm, silenced your authority, and blurred your vision. He believes you'll give up before recovery completes. And so he moves again, unaware that heaven is baiting him into judgment. What he believes is victory is actually the final act before divine reversal. In this window, these coming days, you may feel waves of emotional confusion, spiritual fatigue, or even temptation to return to former patterns. But do not misinterpret the pressure. This is the storm before the shift. This is the war cry before the wealth returns. This is the shaking before the doors swing open. And what they plotted, what they thought was finished, has only triggered heaven's response. Hear me clearly. This pressure is not punishment. It is prophecy pushing through. Your spirit knows it. That's why you've been feeling agitated. That's why old fears and patterns are trying to resurface. That's why people from past seasons are reaching out again. The Spirit is allowing all of it to test your posture before the next wave of restoration lands. You must not fall back. You must not return to the version of yourself that was easier to control, manipulate, or mislabel. You must not shrink now. For some, this pressure will manifest in relationships. People once familiar will begin to feel foreign. For others, it will manifest in strange delays, missed calls, unexpected disruptions. But look deeper. All of it is spiritual. All of it is a final attempt to make you believe that what was stolen will never return. But that is a lie. They believe they've won. They believe the interception was enough. They believe heaven has forgotten you. But they have made one fatal error. They didn't account for who you really are in the spirit. You are not weak. You are not abandoned. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are marked. You are protected. And you are rising. Archangel Michael is not finished. The sword has not yet fallen. And the verdict from the courts of heaven has not yet been announced. But I tell you prophetically, it is forming now. In this window, guard your heart. Guard your time. Guard your decisions. Do not move from impulse, move from instruction. Because what happens in the next 72 hours will determine the speed of your restoration. The attackers may regroup, but they will not recover. They may press, but they cannot prevail. Because when heaven fights for you, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stand against it. You are entering the phase of final confrontation. And after this, the floodgates open. Type "I am ready for victory" in the comments if your spirit senses this coming war and breakthrough. Blessing code 7474 is now warring for you. Now that the war has intensified, I must give you this divine guidance, not just for surviving, but for outlasting the next phase of this storm. This is not the time to fight in the flesh. This is not the hour for carnal reaction, emotional retaliation, or self-defense. No. In the realm of spirit, where this battle is truly being waged, your silence will speak louder than any argument. Your stillness will strike harder than any sword. Because when heaven is fighting for you, your role is not to interfere. Your role is to align, to obey, to stay covered. Hear this word: be still. Be silent. Be hidden in the shadow of the Almighty. The enemy is searching for your reaction, hoping to provoke you into speaking prematurely, acting without clarity, or stepping outside of your divine protection. But the moment you try to fight this war in your own strength, you step out of position. You make yourself visible to attacks you were never meant to endure. So God is saying, stay under my wing. Let me war for you. Your quietness in this season is not weakness, it is strategy. Your obedience to stillness is an act of trust. And your refusal to retaliate will serve as a prophetic announcement that you are no longer operating from the old you. You are no longer trying to prove your value, explain your calling, or force your blessing. You have matured. You are elevated. And you are guarded. You are sealed in the Spirit. Your name is encrypted in the book of the righteous. Your assignment is being hidden from monitoring spirits. Heaven has shielded you with divine invisibility, but this protection only remains if you stay surrendered. That means no arguments, no proving, no flexing, no retaliation. Walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the war is already won. This is how you win now. Not by striving, but by standing. Not by posting, but by praying. Not by confronting the Judas around you, but by locking eyes with the King who sits above every throne. Your enemies are watching. They want to see you panic. They want to see you slip. They want you to move too soon so they can strike again. But you must move like the wind, led by the Spirit, not by impulse. Even now, angelic reinforcements are surrounding you. There is a hedge forming around your house, your children, your finances, your vision. Archangel Michael is not idle. He is mobilizing the hosts of heaven in response to the tears you cried in secret, tears heaven recorded as prayers, even when your mouth said nothing. This is the mystery of divine warfare. The less you move, the more heaven moves for you. Let this be your posture. Stillness is your power. Hiddenness is your covering. Worship is your weapon. And obedience is your open door. In this next stretch, don't argue with those who misunderstand you. Don't try to correct what others say about you. The truth will reveal itself without your help. You are not who they remember. You are who heaven ordained. You are surrounded. You are protected. And you are moving under divine instruction. Keep your eyes forward. Keep your heart guarded. And do not mistake silence for surrender. Your silence is a signal to heaven that you are ready for restoration. Type "I am covered" in the comments if you choose stillness over striving. Blessing code 1010 is now forming a hedge around your life. You are no longer who they thought you were. You've outgrown the chains. You've outlived the opinions. You've walked through fire and now you wear the scent of survival, not smoke. The version of you that the enemy attacked, the one who didn't know their full worth, the one who hesitated, the one who shrunk back when confronted, that version no longer exists. What rose from August 30th was not a victim. It was a vessel of divine vengeance, purified by war and refined by delay. You are not the same, and heaven knows it. This is your moment of empowerment, not because everything has been restored yet, but because you now see through heaven's eyes. You no longer beg for what's already yours. You no longer question what you were born to carry. The attack may have shaken you, but it failed to stop you. And because it failed, because you're still breathing, still believing, still standing, you've stepped into a level of spiritual authority that only the crushed can carry. The delay didn't deny you, it developed you. The opposition didn't destroy you, it revealed you. The weeping of Archangel Michael wasn't over your weakness, but over the violence used against one who was just about to rise. But now the tide has turned. You are no longer the hunted. You are no longer the hidden. You are no longer the passive one trying to avoid attention from the adversary. You are the rising storm, the one sent to disturb darkness, the one anointed to dismantle demonic systems, the one chosen to break generational patterns by fire. The wings on your back didn't just appear overnight. They were forged in pain, through rejection, in isolation, in silence. The people who left you didn't realize they were leaving room for angels. The doors that closed didn't block your future. They rerouted you toward a corridor only accessed by the obedient. You are now walking with oil on your life. Oil that only comes from crushing. And heaven is watching how you carry this next version of yourself. Stop asking for permission to fly when God already gave you wings. Stop seeking validation from those who were never assigned to affirm your destiny. Your power isn't up for debate. Your calling doesn't need confirmation. You have survived too much to question what God has already spoken. Yes, the $1 million blessing was real, not just financially, but prophetically. It was a symbol of what's coming through your hands: influence, impact, innovation, intercession. And although it was attacked, it was never canceled. Now, you must walk like it's already being restored. You must move like someone whose name is known in both realms, in heaven and in hell. You must declare with boldness, "I am the storm they tried to stop." They tried to bury you, but the seed always rises when it's covered. They tried to silence you, but fire always finds a voice. They tried to delay your arrival, but heaven doesn't operate on human clocks. You're not late. You're right on time. Right on the edge of divine release. And now, you're not just surviving the battle, you are becoming the weapon. This is the moment where fear falls away. This is the moment where you shift from being chased to being the one who commands the winds. You are no longer prey. You are prophecy in motion. Type "I am the storm" in the comments if your spirit is rising into divine confidence. Blessing code 1313 is now activating your authority. The time for wondering has passed. The time for guessing, for doubting, for questioning the intensity of your warfare is over. The mystery is unfolding. The veil is lifting. And now the revelation comes. This attack happened because you were next in line for release. You were not targeted because you were weak. You were targeted because your name echoed in the corridors of heaven. Your file was opened. Your name was called. And what was once delayed was about to be delivered. That's why the ambush came. That's why the blessing was intercepted. Because hell saw your scroll before you did. This is not metaphor. This is not imagination. This is prophetic reality. That $1 million blessing, yes, that very number, was not simply a check from the skies. It was a symbol, a divine seal, a marker in the realm of the spirit for generational wealth, restorative provision, and kingdom expansion. It was more than you could see. It wasn't just money. It was momentum. It was multiplication. It was the signal of a new cycle. The breaking of financial famine. The reversing of every poverty line, both physical and spiritual, that tried to grip your family for generations. Heaven had selected you to be the first to rise, the first to own, the first to fund revival, the first to live and overflow not just for yourself, but for nations. You were chosen to host the wealth of the kingdom on earth, not to hoard it, but to steward it. And when the enemy saw what was written, when he saw the shift coming to your name, when he sensed the angelic traffic surrounding your household, he panicked. And he struck. But hear this, the attack did not erase your assignment. It only revealed it. The resistance is proof that something in your life carries prophetic weight. That blessing was your announcement. It was your scroll opening. It was heaven saying, now is the time to release what was held up. But the interception has only increased the intensity of the promise. Because heaven never gives up territory. What is yours is still yours. And what was attacked is now being reinforced. Yes, your name is known in heaven. But it is not written in ink. It is written in light. Illuminated. Flowing. A name that cannot be erased. A destiny that cannot be deleted. You have been sealed for elevation. And though the battle came like a flood, God has already raised the standard. This was not an ending. It was an unlocking. You are now stepping into the most prophetic season of your life. Your eyes are about to see what your spirit has been sensing. Your hands are about to touch what your prayers have been shaping. You are no longer in the waiting room. You are in the birthing chamber. This is your grounding moment. The revelation is here. The enemy struck because you were scheduled for a divine release that would shift your entire lineage. He tried to abort what God intended to deliver. But it's too late now. You're already dilated in the spirit. You're already expanded beyond your former capacity. Now is the time to rise and declare, I am not what was attacked. I am what is rising. Let the revelation settle in your bones. Not only is the blessing still yours, it's about to come back heavier, wealthier, and with divine acceleration. Type my name is written in light in the comments if you know this revelation is yours. Blessing code 1444 is now lighting up your atmosphere. If your name is written in light, then you already know this message was not entertainment. It was alignment. This wasn't just a video, it was a prophetic confirmation of what your spirit has been wrestling with. And if you feel heaven tugging on your heart, then now is the moment to sow where the revelation found you. God says in Luke 6:38, give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you give, you unlock the flow. When you give, you multiply the reach. When you give, you fund the freedom of others who are still in the dark, waiting for their own revelation to find them. I heard the Spirit say, your giving will act as a spiritual agreement. What was blocked will now be loosed. You can become a YouTube member today. Hit the Super Thanks button or sow through the PayPal link in the video description below. However the Spirit leads you, move now. Don't delay. This is holy ground, and your seed will speak. Bless what blessed you. Activate the oil. Let heaven honor your obedience. Heaven is waiting. The scroll has been opened. The seal has been broken. The angels are standing at attention, and your name, yes, your name, is being spoken aloud in the chambers of divine dispatch. This is not a drill. This is not a repeat of a former season. This is your moment of activation. Everything you've walked through, everything you've endured, every battle that left you breathless, every delay that nearly made you quit, it has led to this moment. This sacred hour where heaven leans forward and asks, One question. Will you say yes? Not a casual yes. Not a temporary yes. Not a convenient yes. But a wholehearted, irrevocable, destiny-aligning yes that shatters excuses and opens eternal doors. A yes that activates what's been dormant. A yes that calls forth the angels waiting for your agreement. The yes that moves heaven to move for you. Because you must understand, God has not forgotten. God has not revoked the blessing. The $1 million mantle is still hovering. The crown is still within reach. The assignment is still alive. But it cannot fall upon you unless your spirit says, I'm ready. There is a moment in the life of every chosen one where delay no longer delays, where pressure no longer pushes you back, but pushes you through, and where identity finally catches up to reality. That moment is now. Destiny is not something that just happens to you. It's something you must partner with. You must declare it. You must align with it. You must speak what heaven has spoken, even if your surroundings look like contradiction. Your agreement is your authority. When you say yes, the Spirit begins to move resources, align people, unlock pathways. When you say yes, your angels begin retrieving what was stolen. When you say yes, doors that were rusted shut begin to creak open under the weight of obedience. You are not powerless in this process. You are a co-creator with God, and heaven has been waiting for your voice to match your assignment. Speak now. Align now. Heaven waits for your yes, not your perfection. Your obedience is the key. You don't need more time. You need more trust. You don't need more signs. You need more surrender. That blessing, that symbolic $1 million crown, is heaven's invitation into a realm of overflow, influence, and kingdom legacy. But the door swings on the hinge of obedience. You are being called to move differently, to speak differently, to believe bigger, to walk in a posture of royalty, not pride, but priesthood. You are not begging for scraps anymore. You are being activated as a steward of abundance. You are not waiting on heaven. Heaven is waiting on you. Let the weak version of you die here. Let the confused version of you stay behind. The you that was attacked is not the you who is rising. The enemy attacked you hoping you wouldn't say yes, hoping you would get distracted, hoping you would stay in self-pity long enough to miss your moment. But the fact that you are still here, still tuned in, still reaching in the spirit, that is the evidence that your yes is alive. Say yes to restoration. Say yes to divine vengeance. Say yes to supernatural repayment. Say yes to becoming the vessel through which God will release overflow. Say yes to walking in a room with no apology. Say yes to building what has never been built in your family line before. Say yes to the mantle that scared the enemy enough to target you. Your yes is the trigger. Heaven is ready. Now it's your move. Type ISAYYS to Destiny in the comments if you're ready for activation. Blessing code 555 is now responding to your surrender. While you were sleeping, something shifted. Not in your bank account. Not in your inbox. Not in the visible world. But in the unseen realm, an exchange was initiated. A reversal was recorded. A transaction was processed in the realm of heaven that will soon erupt into your reality. There were no trumpets, no lightning flashes, no applause, Just the hush of eternity as angels began reclaiming what was violently intercepted, the $1 million blessing that bore your name. Do not be fooled by silence. Do not misinterpret quiet as inactivity. For in the deepest stillness, the most powerful exchanges occur. Heaven does not need volume to be victorious. The courts of the Almighty do not shout, they decree. And recently, a decree was made concerning you. Your tears were weighed. Your endurance was measured. And your name was declared worthy of recompense. This is where heaven does its most divine work, in holy secrecy. While your flesh wrestled to understand the delay, your spirit already knew the answer. That restlessness in your bones, that ache behind your eyes, it wasn't confusion, it was spiritual memory. A part of you knew that something was taken. A part of you felt the pull of what had been delayed. And while your mind couldn't name it, your spirit wept in agreement with the warrior who cried over your blessing. That blessing was never lost. It was temporarily detained, hijacked, surrounded by darkness that tried to bury it in obscurity. But heaven remembered. God remembered. Michael remembered. And in the midnight hours, as you slept and others laughed, as you questioned and others mocked, a silent exchange was made. What they touched has been reclaimed. What they sabotaged has been recalibrated. What they mocked is now being reintroduced in multiplied form. Listen to this truth. The blessing is returning with interest. There are things being rearranged right now on your behalf. Documents that will appear in your favor. Relationships being removed to make space for divine alignment. Delays being overturned. Closed doors being revisited. The angels have been sent to reverse what was stolen, and they are doing so with surgical precision. You will not need to lift a finger. Your job now is to trust the stillness and keep your heart in obedience. Let God work. Let the hosts war. Let heaven complete the exchange. Because the war wasn't just over money, it was over what the money would unlock. Impact. Expansion. Kingdom building. Deliverance in families. Shifting legacies. Breaking cycles. The blessing represented more than provision. It was a mandate to fund the movement God has placed inside you. And hell knew it. That's why it was attacked. But it is being returned. The angels are reclaiming it on your behalf. Your agreement through surrender has activated this divine recovery. And as they move, every demonic contract, every monitoring spirit, every word curse spoken against your name is being nullified by divine authority. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to chase it. What is yours is already on its way back, multiplied, matured, and surrounded by fire. You will feel the weight of what was returned before you even see it. Peace will come first. Clarity will follow. Then manifestation will break forth like dawn. And when it lands, you will know. This was heaven's silent reply to hell's loud attack. Type I receive the divine exchange in the comments if you feel the reclaiming in your spirit. Blessing code 606 is surrounding your atmosphere with recovery. Now comes the part the enemy never prepared for, the part that makes hell tremble and demons wail. Because what was taken unlawfully is being returned under the banner of divine justice, and the heavens are no longer observing in silence. The judgment has been issued. The gavel has dropped. And I declare to you with the fire of prophetic clarity, every scheme they've formed, every trap they set, every word they spoke in secret shall now return to them tenfold. This is not revenge. This is justice. Holy, measured, precise. The scales of heaven have tilted, not by your hands, but by the hand of the righteous judge. And he is not just returning what was stolen, he is multiplying it beyond recognition. What was blocked is now being blasted open. What was delayed is now being delivered with divine speed. This is not about a mere blessing. This is about the restoration of honor, the vindication of the anointed, and the public display of divine favor. I must say it boldly. What the enemy thought would be your collapse has become your confirmation. The moment they interfered with your $1 million blessing, a symbol of divine release, generational wealth, and kingdom assignment, they triggered a reversal that is now swallowing their plans whole. The judgment against them is not emotional, it is eternal. Every dark force that touched your name, every principality that mocked your breakthrough, every spiritual thief that reached into your inheritance, they have been issued a divine sentence. They will watch as you rise. They will witness what they tried to bury come back with glory. They will choke on the fruit of the very tree they tried to cut down. You are now in the hour of holy reversal. And as this unfolds, everything stolen is being returned in upgraded form. You will not get back what you lost. You will get better. You will not return to what was. You will step into what was always promised. This is the prophetic law of divine reversal. What the enemy meant for evil, God is now using as your elevation. And it's already begun. Even now, the winds are shifting. Doors are opening not just to bless you, but to announce you. Your name, once slandered, will now be spoken in rooms of honor. Your character, once misunderstood, will now be your crown. And the very people who questioned your calling will be forced to acknowledge your covering. But make no mistake, this reversal isn't coming so you can gloat. It's coming so you can govern. What you receive now is not just repayment. It is responsibility. This blessing will carry authority. It will position you to fund missions, build legacies, break chains, and release others who are still bound in battles like yours. The fire you walked through was never about you alone. It was about unlocking a wave of justice that would spill into others' lives through you. And now, as justice unfolds and divine order is re-established, you will become a living example that God still defends His chosen, and that no thief leaves without being confronted by the courts of heaven. Justice is not just coming, it's already here. It is unfolding around you like thunder wrapped in glory. It is rewriting your story. It is silencing the accuser. And it is announcing, this one belongs to me. Type divine justice is mine in the comments if you receive this verdict. Blessing code 1717 is being stamped over your life now. This is the final word, the final moment, the final confirmation. And now, let it be declared from the mouth of the Archangel to the ears of the call. The tears of Michael were not a sign of defeat. They were a signal of war. His weeping did not come from weakness, but from the righteous fury of heaven watching a blessing be violated, a blessing that bore your name. But hear this now, as the final seal is set, the war has turned. The verdict has been delivered, and the recovery has begun. You were never abandoned. You were never forgotten. You were never discarded. Heaven watched every moment. The delay, the betrayal, the interference, the silence. Heaven recorded it. And heaven responded. And now, like the rising of the morning sun after the longest night, your inheritance is restored, your path is cleared, and your steps are realigned with prophetic accuracy. That $1 million blessing, the one that triggered the clash in the spirit, the one that marked your life for attack, it was never about money alone. It was about the mantle it carried, the doors it opened, the generational chains it broke. And though it was violently intercepted, it has now been divinely reinforced. You will see it return. Not because you fought for it, but because you trusted the one who did. The silence you walked through was not abandonment. It was divine concealment. You were hidden in the shadow of the Almighty while heaven repositioned your steps. The weeping you endured was not weakness. It was the sound of your spirit shedding an old identity. The loss you felt was not final. It was preparation for a multiplied return. Now rise. Not with fear, but with fire. You are no longer the one who was attacked. You are the one who was sealed, the one who was seen, the one who is now sent. Sent into the next chapter. Sent into the next level. Sent into divine assignments where your authority will not be questioned and your anointing will not be ignored. The enemy tried to write your ending. He failed. God just rewrote your beginning. So walk like one who has been reclaimed. Speak like one who has been redeemed. Move like one who is backed by angelic armies. For this next season is not a test, it is a testimony. And your name is the headline of heaven's victory. The war is over. The blessing is returning. And you are rising in full power. Type "I am sealed and sent" in the comments if you receive this final affirmation. Blessing code 8888 is now activated over your next chapter. If this message seals something deep in your spirit, if you know this word was confirmation straight from the throne of heaven, then now is the moment to move in divine agreement. You're not just receiving a blessing, you're becoming a blessing. And with every act of support, you help bring this fire to others walking through their own midnight warfare. Proverbs 11:25 declares, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." This is more than a verse. It's a heavenly principle being activated as you sow. You're not giving to a platform. You're partnering with a prophetic mission to set captives free. I heard the Spirit say, your giving will unlock what was waiting behind the final door. Join the mission through YouTube membership, super thanks, or sow directly via the PayPal link in the description below. Every offering carries oil. Every seed multiplies the message. And every act of obedience releases divine acceleration over your own life. Step into overflow. Step into obedience. Step into the atmosphere that's already declaring, "This one has been remembered by heaven."